Was there anybody that young Domonique Foxworth tried to emulate?
I wanted to be like Champ Bailey. I tried to do the things that he did on the field for all of 2 days. It was a short-lived experiment. He's holding Jerry Rice. Like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to pay my rent. And Jerry Rice happens to be in the way.
And all of a sudden, Finnegan comes out like a f***ing leprechaun and smacks the f*** out of me.
That's why I appreciate you, because you're a man of the people.
Welcome to the Green Light Podcast presented by BetMGM. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code GREENLIGHT. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. If that bet loses, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just make sure you use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up. Welcome to the show. Today I've got Domonique Foxworth. Dom and I are doing a home and home. That's right. You can catch me on the Domonique Foxworth Show, and you can catch Domonique Foxworth on the Green Light Podcast with Chris Long. All right? That's what we call a home and home. That's two dudes helping each other out on a weekend. We got a lot going on. You know, we got kids and shit. So sometimes getting it done, getting an easy show done, getting it in the hopper for Monday is the way we want to do it. This is a special release. I'm taking my kids, I'm taking my wife and kids camping tomorrow. So this really helps, not having to drop a show for a Tuesday release. Check out DFS, enjoy Green Light. We're going to talk a lot of NFL, a lot of training camp. Tell some stories. Domonique Foxworth joins us on the show, and we got a lot to talk about training camp. Training camp is upon us, and I think I'm at the stage in my post-career life where my first couple years out, Dom, I used to stare at the TV and be like, yeah, haha, they're at camp. I'm at home. Now I'm just man, I kind of feel shitty sitting here. I kind of miss football. You know what I mean? Like when you get so washed where you're like, man, we had it good.
Yeah, football camp, training camp was always really miserable. The worst days. It was like how you felt at the end of a weekend when school was about to start, times 1 million. And then you get there, and the wild part was not realizing, at least for me, I didn't realize how different camp was for the vets, like the real vets.
Oh, yeah.
Than it was for like me. And we had 2 days back in the day. They don't have that now, but it didn't feel like it was helpful. It was like every year they wanted to see if we lost our heart or something. Like, no, we still got heart. Like, what are you doing?
Well, but you know what? Honestly, and we still got heart. You're still tough. I'm still tough. I'm mentally tough, all that shit, resilient. But it takes an unnatural amount of mental toughness and resiliency and physical toughness and to be in that mindset. You don't realize until you get out of the game, they really do have to reorient you to the situation. You know, like even a couple months off makes you go back to human nature. So what I was going to open up with was the best and worst parts of camp, little things you remember, because there were things that I actually liked. Like I'd get in camp and it's kind of sick. Like I'd actually I'd get into the camp thing. I was like, all right, this is not so bad. Like, you know, some things I hate, but
you're like a prisoner. Like you go to jail.
I didn't want to say institutionalized.
Yeah, it's like one of those people who get out and was like, man, I got to get back in the joint. I got 3 hots in a cot, baby. I'm comfortable in there. I'm the man.
3 hots in a cot, dude. I was like, and honestly, the fucking dinners after practice were one of my favorite things because it did feel like, remember in Goodfellas when they cooked their own dinner and they sat down for dinner finally, and it was like they were riding high. Like that's what it felt like when you get out of a really hard practice and the day was behind you and you ended up like those dinners were some of the best dinners I ever had in my life. Some of the biggest laughs. I couldn't stop smiling, dude. Like that has to be said about training camp.
So the training camp dinners, it was only fun because we were all in there making jokes and you didn't have practice anymore, so it felt like the day was over. The dinners weren't all that special, but I really liked ice cream Snickers.
The first dinner, though, you know when you get in there
Oh,
and they're like, "Hey, welcome to camp, everybody,"
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. You dapping
they
everybody
got
up.
lobster. They're like, "Hey, we're
Yeah.
gonna give you a couple doses of CTE over the next month, but enjoy some shellfish." And
And you
and
know what's never good? Shellfish in bulk. Like you can't get one, you can't get 200 lobsters and they all be good. They're not selling them like that.
dudes are taking lobsters back to the room. Like we're like, we know they're not giving us lobsters anymore in camp, so take all the good shit and eat as much as you possibly can. That's another good thing about camp.
Do you guys have the Toll House? So like in Denver, my training camp, I would always get the Toll House ice cream sandwich cookies like after practice, and that would be the thing I look forward to. And then in Baltimore, it was ice cream Snickers after practice. Did you guys have a specific dessert go to?
No, so well, honestly, the most memorable one, Noel, you're gonna like this, was Rita's water ice in
Oh
Philly,
yeah.
where like it was hot as hell, and your kids show up. This is later in my career, so now there's kids, and you can walk them over and get some water ice, and I don't know, man, like it was just whatever you wanted to eat, like pizza at 10 p.m., no problem. I don't even eat pizza anymore because I'm so old and my metabolism slowed down so much. You know what I mean? Like, but you could eat whatever you wanted, and I would fall for stupid shit like the punt machine day off trick.
Oh, it's the best. It's the
Every
best.
time, dude. Yeah,
It's the
feed
best.
me the oh.
I mean, for the people who don't know what that is, it's like they would do a punt or a field goal or something. If we catch it, or if you make the field goal, we get the day off. It was always like a planned day off, or like the surprise bowling trip, and we all would act surprised. We were so deprived; it would feel so good.
It felt like you again to go back to the theme. It felt like being out on work release. I would imagine, and honestly, it's akin to me giving my dog like a cow ear. Like in the moment, it's the best thing I could have ever done for the dog. Like the dog's in heaven, but it really doesn't change the dog's circumstances at all. When Spags took us to see Invictus, which was not a good movie, and I'm sitting there like, and I'm like, thanks, Spags. Like I could be off, but I'm sitting crammed between Cliff Ryan and like Orlando Pace at a movie or something, like for 3 hours. Listen to
Did you
Matt.
guys have pranks? Were
What
you
was it?
were you on a prank team? Like I had different teams, and some teams were prank guys. Yeah, you see, I feel like that's a D line thing. That's like O line, D line is prank guys. Rest of us are like, get out of here with your bullshit pranks.
No, it was the DBs and I. Cortland
Oh
Finnegan
yeah.
was a big prank guy, so was I.
Uh,
So me and Court had a truce where we didn't fuck with each other, but everybody else was at war. Like all his buddies were fair game, all my buddies were fair game, but don't mess with my stuff. And we had a lot of pranks. The one time, me and William Hayes, James Laurinaitis was the signal caller. He was the Mike linebacker. He got us lined up, and he was truly a great guy. We knew he was a soft target. Like he was a real Christian. Like he was really going to turn the other cheek. And one day we were bored during that stupid fucking break that they give you for 75 minutes, where you're like, go back to the hotel, take a 20-minute nap. Like, please, I don't want that. Let's just get out of here earlier. So me and Will on one of these days where the building empties out, we're like, let's go get some packing peanuts and pull James's car in the indoor and fill it with packing peanuts, wrap it up in saran wrap, no problem. Like just run of the mill shit. We get down to the FedEx spot and we hear crickets. So me and William Hayes naturally are like, what's up with the crickets? They said there's a bait shop down the road. The guy gets here at 1 to pick them up. Why? I go, man, can I wait around and talk to this guy? He's like, yeah. So guy shows up. I said, let me get like 10,000 of those things. He goes, I'll take some tickets. So I said, we traded tickets for crickets. And me and William took the crickets back to the indoor and filled James's car with crickets.
oh God.
But what went wrong is the damn crickets died in the vents,
Oh.
and he had
You
to
guys are
trade the
monsters.
Audi back in, dude. And we almost got away with it if it weren't for CCTV, like one of those like
Oh.
security cameras in the indoor. Fucking our security guys snitched. So we had a lot of pranks, dude. Like, let me ask you this: so you played for 3 teams total, same as me. Who were the scariest training camp vets, and who were the good training camp vets where you were like, this guy's benevolent, like it could be a lot
Yeah.
worse.
I mean, I didn't really have, so I got drafted and there were 2 other corners drafted in my same draft. Both were drafted ahead of me. So no one really messed with me. And I like surprised them and was like, good. So everybody was really cool with me. And I complied. So like, what? You want me to pay for dinner? Sure. You want me to carry your bags? Sure. And we had one that wanted to be a tough guy. So I didn't have any of the issues that everybody was cool with me. And so I paid it forward. The next year I was cool to all the rookies that we had. So everybody was really great. And Champ just didn't like, hey, he was a great guy. He just wanted to have a good time and play football. So he didn't spend much time messing with us.
So let me ask you this then: what constituted being a tough guy about like just not
I'm not
carrying pads?
just saying I'm not going to do that. You can't cut my hair. You can't. I'm not going to carry your pads. I'm not going to pay for rookie dinner. Like I'm not doing none of that stuff. It's stupid. I agree, it's stupid, but it's ritual. And I'm going to go ahead and participate in all these sorts of things.
Dude, I was a compliant son of a bitch, dude. I was like,
Yeah, you had the name too, so they just wanted you to fuck up. I'm sure.
well, yeah, they wanted me exactly. Thank you for somebody finally saying it. Like James Hall, who ended up being one of my best buddies, hated me for a year,
course.
dude. Like we didn't talk. I'd ask him for the call in camp, and he'd be like, "You think I'm going to give you the call?" Like Leroy Glover would yell at me. He's also an awesome dude, but I was a rookie. Like that was the old NFL. And if it came time to get your haircut, you got your haircut. By the end of my career, dude, and admittedly, I wasn't trying to cut people's hair that hard, but like we were probably batting 500 on haircuts.
It's like, nah, I'm good.
Players were so empowered that they were like, no, I'm not getting my haircut. But then try cutting Aaron Donald's hair, dude.
Nah. I mean, if you go see Mr. Donald, can I please? Would you like a shape up, sir? Let me line that up.
They get the eyebrows. You got not to nitpick, but one of your eyebrows is.
I've been trying. You told one story, but I wanted to tell one that you made me think of when you said that Cortland and you were like the prankster guys. So in Baltimore, we had like an ongoing, like through the course of the season, you have like foolish little games or whatever. So we had a war between the D line and the DBs. And if you catch a D lineman in the hallway, we would jump him or something like that. And the same thing for the DB. So I've told this story on my show before. So this is new to you guys. But we had one DB who left the meeting room to go to the bathroom break or whatever. He's in the locker room on his phone, and the D line got out of their meeting. They got let out of the meeting. So they caught him in there by himself. And we just hear him start yelling. And so we all run out of the meeting to go in there to see what's going on. He is butt naked with all the D linemen surrounding him. He's like, they wasn't going to jump me, so I took all my clothes off. He just dick out. It's like, no one's going to stop from jumping me. That was quick thinking. They started to reach and grab him, whipped it all off. Like, yep, they not going to get me.
Yeah, we're gonna get you tomorrow, dude. Don't let me catch you with clothes on. Like that's just crazy, bro. That's a crazy evolutionary tactic for a young DB, man.
He would survive. Survive, though.
Well, the other thing was we did have something called Smack Cam, where like if dudes were wearing issued gear anywhere but like on the field or in the weight room, you'd come up and dudes would put shaving cream on a plate and just smack the fuck out of you. So one time they woke me up early to do like an NFL Network hit, and I hate waking up early, and I did not like doing shit I was nice to the media people, but I was like, come on. So they really need you. Julia said, hey, put this shirt on. I wasn't thinking. It was like 6:45 in the morning. I'm on live TV. And all of a sudden, Finnegan comes out like a fucking leprechaun, skips across the back of the dark locker room, and you can see him in the background of the interview, and smacks the fuck out of me. And I look like I just got like I don't even want to say.
I can imagine.
It feels. Yep, there it is. So,
certainly, it's your family.
My reaction's like I didn't have any issue gear on.
Oh God! I don't have any issue gear on. Be kidding me. He had to jump to hit me.
I mean, that's a good prank.
It's a good prank, and everybody was involved, but like, nothing pisses a guy off like in the middle of August to get smacked in the face a little too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about things we hate and love. The things I hate, wet pads. Okay, back in the 2-a-day days, you come back, the feeling in the afternoon when you're putting on your wet pads, it's one of the most like Just yeah, Nolan remembers even from college, man. Probably
Well, it's so funny. I mean, I didn't get anywhere near a professional football field, but hearing you guys
all the
as pros
same.
talk about that problem, like I just know like high school and like small school college football, but like
Y'all
you,
shit
you would
stinks.
think like at the pros they don't have to deal with this shit, and you guys are putting on the wet pads like everybody else.
The wet cleats, the wet pads, the whole thing. Field turf, I think, is one of the worst things that ever happened at training camp.
Hate it.
It raises.
We never played on the all of my training camps were on grass, so I was lucky. But yeah, we would have to if it was like rainy or something, we have to go to the indoor turf. That shit was awful. The wet pads are terrible. I also I hated the cold tub.
Really?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say you liked the cold tub. I hated the cold tub because practice was hard, and I'm hurting, and I would like the pain to go away, and practice is done, so all the pain is over. Nah, get your ass in this trash can full of ice. That'll make you feel better. Fuck you.
That might have staph in it.
Yeah, get yourself in this infected trash can full of ice. Ugh.
Yeah, the guard that weighs 360 was in here right before me. The worst though probably for me was drug tests, and it's not because I was doing drugs. It was because they wake you up. You remember how this works, Dom?
Yeah.
It was random, and it was by position group. And they wouldn't tell you. They just come knock on your door and wake you up. So every night before you go to bed, you're like, is this the night that I'm going to get woke up at 5 a.m, to a loud knock at the door when I'm tired as fuck? You got to go outside. Forget, you always, they're like, hey, don't pee right when you wake up. First thing you do, walk in the bathroom, take a leak. So you're out there in the hallway in a line of 8. The vets come in, they're jumping you. They're like, sorry, Rook. And so you got 15 people in front of you. You're trying to go back to bed, the whole thing. I hated that. And then the worst was probably for me was coaches competing to let their room out the latest. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. They're out there trying to be kiss asses, teachers' pets.
Yeah.
It's the worst. So I don't know about the wake up drug test. I got off easy there. I only had in Baltimore, I only had 1 year of away from home training camp in the NFL. So we would get to work and find out that our position group was up for testing. And so we never had the wake up. I never had that experience where they're in the dorms and it's like, hey, wake up, do your piss test.
Well, they did it at the hotel for us. Didn't have to be in the dorms. So you're telling me you didn't have to you went to a hotel for training camp?
I went to a hotel for training camp as a rookie in Denver, and then the next year they let us stay home. And then I got traded to Atlanta after training camp. So, and then in Baltimore, we had 2 seasons in Westminster at the college dorm, and I tore my ACL on day 1 of the second season. So, and then after that, it was back at the facility. So I didn't have the funny thing about the drug test day was it was a little celebration for some people because, in order you had to stop smoking a month before.
Yep.
And everybody was like, man.
Or 2 weeks.
I don't know the rules, man. I
know. You're a good guy. No, but you got your life under control, dude. But some of us who don't, we would have to wait. And then some guys, and I swear they were stereotyping us by our position because the quarterbacks would always get drug tested first because they want us. The D line would always be last. It would be the D line and the DBs would be last, bro.
Yeah.
So most guys, they've already been tested by the time they go home for summer break.
Yep.
And so we're sitting there in the sauna, with a cranberry juice enema or something to try, all the stupid ways that people try to actually flush their systems. It was always our positions, man. But the other thing was if you go to camp, if you don't go to camp and you camp at home, you don't get that feeling of realizing how great your life is when you come home.
Yeah, yeah.
You know the movie It's a Wonderful Life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my dad used to make me watch it every year. And after a while, I was like, I get it. And I think it was Christmas or something we used to watch it. But you know the feeling when the guy goes home and he's like, I love you. And he's all over his wife. And he's like, oh, my God, it's my dog. It's my couch. It's my bed, dude. I used to come home every year and be like, I will never complain again for 48 hours. And then 72 hours in, I'm like, yo, fuck this.
I believe that there was a certain subsection of women in the city that are waiting for camp to get let out too. Because as soon as camp get let out, these guys are not these guys, us guys are like anything moving will be my girlfriend for the next week or so.
The young guys, we used to give them shit and call it camp eyes.
Yeah, camp eyes for sure. Yeah.
Basically, like they've only seen men for like 10 days straight. You might not see like until open practice. You might not see an outsider, dude. All of a sudden, you'll hear somebody make like an offhand comment about something. And I'm like, you think? You sure that's not your camp eyes, dude?
Yeah, no, we're definitely getting too close to topics that we can't talk about because I know exactly what you're saying, and I remember that too.
Yeah, I'm talking about they see something on TV or something, you know, and I'm like, really?
Exactly.
Like,
just something on TV. That's right.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like Amy Schumer's not just funny.
Just watching Ellen during the break, like, I mean, kind of bad. I always like a sense of humor.
She's a philanthropist.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, and the other funny story is like, I don't know. My rookie year, I only went away once, and it was to Concordia, Wisconsin, which like was a dorm thing, and I roomed with like Adam Carricker. By the way, they were like, all right, let's put two white guys together. And and we had nothing in common, even though Adam's cool. We just had nothing in common. And then you sleep in a little dorm. But we obviously as rookies, the first thing you do when you get there is like scope out what's the entertainment when we get a day off, right? Like what are we gonna do? And we were like, we're gonna go to Milwaukee, dude. As if we know what the fuck's in Milwaukee or there's anything worth driving an hour for. But we were all rookies and we wanted to get shit faced. And we go to Milwaukee. And we sit in the room, and we're pre-gaming, and we're getting fucked up, and we're going to go to this bar, we're going to that bar. Next thing you know, I wake up in the morning with my clothes on to go out. I never made it off the couch. I look around the room, there's 3 other dudes sitting in chairs.
That's perfect.
Because we're so damn tired, dude.
Yeah, that is perfect.
You just go home when you get a day off.
It was way before training camp. It was like our first mini camp, not the rookie mini camp, but our first mini camp with the vets. Yeah. I got there and like I was really fortunate because like Champ and I became really close friends and we're still friends and he looked out for me a bunch. But my first experience was the second night I was there, Champ had a pool party at his house. And I remember thinking like, yeah, it's NFL, but it's not like TV. It's not like the movies. It is like the movies.
Yeah,
people ask me what was my first welcome to the NFL moment. It was going to a real pool party. And I showed up like with a bottle of something, vodka or something. Like I brought a goddamn party gift and Champ looked at me like I was an idiot. I was like, all right, put that over there. I walk in like I'm going to a damn dinner party. And there's women running through the kitchen with no clothes on, jumping in the pool. I'm in the basement. There's a pool table with a stack of money on it that had to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Guys playing dice with that money on the table. There was other stuff that when we're not recording, I'll tell you. I was like, this feels like a movie. And it was my second night in Denver. It was incredible.
I never got those experiences. We played in St. Louis. Nothing against St. Louis, but we didn't really have anybody who was like made like that. You know, like we had some great players, but like, and maybe
it's also
Steve,
the timing.
maybe Steven, yeah, it's the timing. But yeah, like us guys on the St. Louis D line mostly just went over the bridge. Which, if you know where that is,
there's a window. Like, and so if you're a high enough draft pick, especially back then, your money was high. So maybe not your rookie year, but second or third year. Yeah. But Champ was obviously Champ, and so he had been there for a while, and his money was right, and he also was re-entering the world. Like I think him and his wife were breaking up at that point, so it was just perfect timing. So
yeah, it was good time for Dom Foxworth to be a young player.
And it was in Denver too, which is underappreciated because it's like it's not on either the coast. So like if you're on the East Coast, there's like a bunch of major cities. Mm-hmm. Where Denver is, everybody who they would all like the hottest and most attractive and most talented people from all of the middle states.
And there's so many.
Yeah,
many
it was
states?
coming to Denver. And it was like, oh, because I mean, I grew up in Baltimore. I was like, I'm going to Broncos like snow every day. I got there. I
Right.
was like, no, the weather is fantastic. The people are gorgeous, and this is fun.
So is it like the inverse of College Park, Maryland?
No, college.
That's where all the like the most. I don't know.
No, stop it. You. It's not a fight that you want to have. You went to school in Charlottesville,
I
a
wage
public
this
school.
fight all the
Where,
damn time, dude.
it's a public school with a bunch of losers that wear ties anyway. Like, what
You
are you
guys just
doing?
you guys set couches on fire and shit anytime you do
Yeah,
anything, which
like,
I guess is not that uncool, but
yeah. I mean, you guys wear sport
just don't.
coats to football games.
I'm not on that. By the way, I took a stand on that on my podcast recently.
Good. I mean, and
I'm getting looks around town.
that's the nicest thing about that. Like, we could get into I would let you off the hook for you guys' affinity for small torches for now.
Well, I heard a lot of those people came down from Maryland.
Yeah, nobody came down from Maryland. Not down there. Not you guys. Yeah, I like my host Charlie, and I want to keep my host Charlie. And those people would not
Next
like my
topic.
host Charlie.
Next
You
topic.
started it. You
Fuck
started it.
Maryland, dude. All right. The next thing I want to get into, the last thing I don't like about camp is something emasculating could happen in front of your family. And it never happened to me, but it was just something I was always acutely aware of is like, man, your kids come to work and like you might see your dad get beat up. Or you might see your dad like get run over.
My first camp experience was Jerry Rice was in our camp at like 45 years old, and I looked up to Jerry Rice when I was a kid, and it was the opposite situation where Jerry just wasn't quite Jerry anymore. But I was a third round pick. I needed this job. So I got my hands on Jerry, and the fans were pissed that my mother's in the crowd arguing with people because they like, he's holding Jerry Rice. Like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to pay my rent, and Jerry Rice happens to be in the way.
Yeah, Jerry Rice is in the way of me supporting said family.
You know what I hate, though? I hated joint practices. I know some people love joint practices. Hated joint practices. It was a way to steal a game. Y'all stealing a game. Because when it's with your team, it's a different environment.
Yep.
I'm out here. They brought the Cowboys out there, and I got to guard Terrell Owens' big, strong ass. Like, that's a payment. I need to get paid for this shit. This is a real high-stakes situation where people are looking at me, and sneaking up these practices just ain't fair. Get them out of here.
It was always interesting, like the first day of joint practice, like walking out on the field and seeing other people like in your house. And like you're like as a big D lineman, like we're all walking out together and we're like, hey, they shouldn't be out here. Like, it's like that kind of reaction. And it's also like seeing people in person. It's a totally different thing, right? Because you're like, damn, that dude's bigger than I fucking thought, or like, damn, like I, and then you get into the one-on-ones, and honestly, for D linemen, it does help because I don't know how you feel about this as a defensive back, but you get in the same battle over and over again with the same guy every day. So your techniques, if you want to try a different technique, it might not be the appropriate technique to use on the guy you're competing with, and then your game kind of stays in the same place a little bit. So I like the variability of playing a different guy, but they are stealing a game there. I agree.
I mean, the thing about it is everybody trying to. It's a little bit higher stakes. Like, it's higher stakes. At least to me, it felt like higher stakes than a preseason game. Because preseason games, we all run out there. We run like standard stuff. Guys are trying to get a first down. This is different stakes. It feels like almost more intense, especially for the guys who, like, a couple guys got injured. So I was running with the ones as a rookie. I guess that was as a rookie, I was running with the ones with a joint practice, and the one-on-one period, everyone's trying to get a goddamn highlight. So, like, I'm going to tear my groin off the bone trying to run with these assholes. And that,
when usually at that point in practice, you're trying to, warm up or get into the flow.
And like the team, when you're against your own team, they're going to run some slants and outs every now and then.
Yep.
When it's a joint practice, they're like, nah, we're doing 7s, 8s, and 9s, baby.
The other thing is, this Aaron Rodgers roommate with DK Metcalf thing. Have you seen this?
Yeah, like the PP?
What has he got to pee outside? What happened?
So there's a tweet from Jory Epstein. When Aaron Rodgers realized the toilet in his and DK's suite flushed loudly, he told him at night, if we got to piss, just don't flush the toilet. 9:30 Wednesday night, DK texted, you asleep yet? Aaron wasn't. And he said, bet. I'm about to flush the toilet.
So are they in a suite? They're in a suite or a room? They're in a suite.
It sounds like a suite with a shared bathroom, I guess.
Shared
But
bathroom,
what?
yeah.
But like what? In general, I'm just kind of like, listen. I understand that we're pampered enough in a lot of ways, but like two grown men that have to share a bathroom, like you're paying them how much money? But like, and I know you go to Latrobe or whatever it is, and that's like a tradition. But I'm just not a big like. If I were running a team, I thank the good Lord I am not. I would have them in a situation that's conducive to getting rest and not having to make decisions like Aaron Rodgers walking in and DK's piss is bubbling in the toilet at 7 a.m.
That's why I appreciate you, because you're a man of the people, because you found the way to put the blame where it fucking belongs. Like, I think that most people's reaction to this is like, Aaron Rodgers, stop being a prima donna. No, this sleep is important. I agree. If you're going to wake me up, if you got to pee at 1 a.m., fine. You're hydrated. Congratulations. But don't wake me up. But you're right. Why are we putting these people whose sleep is so important in a situation where they got to share a bathroom? I should be able to sleep in peace, and I should be able to shit in peace. I shouldn't have to be like concerned that my shit is going to disrupt somebody. Like,
Or that the toilet is warm. I don't want to put my butt cheeks on it. Dude,
That's miserable.
I've walked for 35 minutes at a time around a facility to find like a secret bathroom before. Like, I don't want to go in there and there be a warm. And also, I did learn this from a roommate. This is what I had a roommate in college who told me. He goes, "Man, if you want to take a shit, run the shower." He goes, "It's an old trick." He says, "It's an old trick." So that was like a big trick I learned. And then that's not that same roommate, another college roommate. He snored so bad I had to sleep in the tub. So, like, it's just stupid, dude. Like, it's stupid the things that sometimes football players have to do when they're dog tired. And I understand some people listening are going to be like, get over it. Y'all are paid well. But that's the point. We are paid well, so, like, let us sleep. And
The secret bathroom.
bed check.
That's miserable, man. That's miserable. I hated bed check. It was so miserable. And on the road, like that, just general bed check. But you brought up the secret bathrooms in the facility. That was an important maneuver, is to know where the bathroom was. We had, I think the Ravens have changed their facility now, but with the Ravens, you had to go over to like the business part. Like there was a door between like the football side and like the community relations and media relations and HR and travel. Like all of them were on a different side. Oh yeah, your bathroom is getting lit up by me.
Oh yeah, and there on one of the teams I played for, through the wall there was like a private practice like for something, and so like, you know, that was fair game. Now I'm not going to say where, but like people were probably in there, had no idea that like their favorite football player just blew this thing up.
I think they do. I think they do. They went in there and they was like, yeah, that's not Carol's smell. That was a 300-pound
through the wall there. Anyways, yeah, I think it should be. I think it should be much better with the roommate situation. Okay, let's get into some real nuts and bolts here, Nolan. Some football. I think what's really interesting, and we've touched on it in pods past, when I've remarked on like Cincinnati having a really important camp. For all the reasons that are obvious, Dom, like they start slow every year. Like, we got to get that fixed. Joe needs reps. Al Golden, who's been a college coordinator, he's got a hell of a hard job in front of him, and he's replacing the guy that was there for a while. And both your edge rushers, well, one of them just showed up to practice, but the other one's nowhere to be found. So, like, that's a high-stakes camp, right? They're all high stakes, but some are higher than others. And I wonder, as we look around the league, what we think are the highest stake installations going on this August. Mm-hmm. You know, where you talk about new coordinators that are trying to either completely revamp a scheme or just continue to move in the same direction, a la like a Detroit. Yeah. You know, where it's like, hey, this guy was here in 22, he's been in Denver for 2 years, but we're not trying to change too much. What do y'all think?
Probably makes sense to start with Chicago. You have different play callers on both sides of the ball there.
Dude, I think we talked about this earlier with the defense, man. Like, there's going to be a little bit of variation for the guys up front. It's not going to be as simple. And I think we pay a lot of attention to the offense. We did just another reminder. We did just talk about this on the DFS, the Domonique Foxworth Show. This is one of the best shows out there, which I'm also on. This is a part of a home and home. Another reminder there. What did we talk about when it came to that offense? Because I think this is something that people are going to be paying a lot of attention to, Dom.
Yeah, no, I think they can go over there and check out our offensive talk. Like, I think that we did a good job over there. I'm going to do it twice, man. Just go over there and talk to us. Like, Dennis Allen take over the defense, though, I think having a former head coach in a coordinator situation, I always think is beneficial. And they have talent. That's the thing about both sides of the ball for them. They have a ton of talent. I'm interested, though, in the Lions situation.
Yeah.
Because I know you mentioned it. I'm one who's like, you hear people talk about how you should get an offensive-minded head coach so that your quarterback never loses his guy. I kind of disagree with that as a matter of principle. It's like at some point your quarterback will take over. So like I think I'm rooting for the Lions because this speaks to one of the theories that I have and I stand by. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Replacing Ragnow in the middle is going to be tough, but they have two new coordinators on both sides, guys who have a history there, but yeah, I like the Lions situation. I find that interesting.
I do. I think Nick Caley, for reasons that we mentioned with Houston in your show, that's a big deal. I mean, like, number one, the offensive line's a big deal. And then number two is just like getting C.J. Stroud back on his eyes on the right stuff. Because when you're beat up as a quarterback over a course of time, your eyes start going in the wrong places, even the best quarterbacks. And so that's going to be a big project there.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
New England, like with the young, really impressive, or at least physically talented quarterback who had a promising first year, and they have handed it over to Vrabel. They are giving the offense to Josh McDaniels, who I would say has had a checkered history, I guess, as far as coordinator. Like, him being under Vrabel and being back in New England, does that give you some confidence that there's something about the McDaniels history? Because that was a curious hire for a young, talented quarterback. It's like Vrabel's going with a guy he knows and trusts, but I'm not sure that there was like some clamoring to get Josh McDaniels to tutor your young quarterback.
I'm not going to act like I'm so plugged in there, just haven't been there for a year, but I feel like obviously everything is – there's a level of like wanting things to be comfortable for Robert. And, Vrabel is some version of that. What I like about Vrabel is he is a New England guy, but he's not he's a Bill guy in all the ways, but he's not a Bill guy. And he's not anti-Bill, but he's just not going to try to be the same fucking guy, which I think is what gets all these guys into trouble. And I think it's what's gotten Josh into trouble as a coach. The coach, Josh McDaniels, like the head coach, the guy I hear about is totally different than the guy that I experienced as a coach, not only in New England, but in St. Louis when he actually helped Bradford play one of the best seasons he had under his belt. And I always liked him around the building. So, like, the guy I hear about as a head coach has not been the guy that I've been privy to get to know as a player, as a coordinator. And so I think that's what they're banking on, that, like, listen, this guy, we know him well. I like Drake. I like New England's defensive line the best out of anything they got going there. I'm really looking forward to that group. We had Big Milton on, met Keon White at the SAC Summit. That was awesome. That dude's a fucking stud. They got a bunch of guys up front, and I'm looking forward to watching them play.
That's fair. Like, we don't, at least I don't, it's not my nature to assume that coaches can get better, but it's good to remember that also coaches can get better. I remember that, like, Harbaugh, I got there in Baltimore on his second year there, and I think there was still some insecurity about him taking over the reins there, especially with all the Hall of Famers there. And I remember he gave us a speech before camp saying that he wanted a team of snitches. And we were like, what? And the point that he was saying was he wanted us to be accountable to each other. And he was like, you should call each other out. And I just remember, like, the message. Yeah, I know. He was just like, you got to hold each other accountable. And it's like, there's some things about coaching that I think come with a little time and security. Yeah. Maybe Josh is finding that. But, yeah, John's turned into quite an impressive coach. But I just remember looking at him like, huh?
What? Yeah, well, you can't walk into a room and be like, hey, I'm not going to be able to get control of this room. Y'all got to get control of it. Like you have to set the culture to where that exists, and then you can put it on autopilot.
He was fortunate though. He was fortunate though because the guys there were, they knew how the game worked. It wasn't everyone was holding each other accountable, and there was the players who worked really hard were obviously the best players too. And so like you felt like an idiot. Like anybody felt like an idiot cutting corners when you're looking over at Ed and Suggs and Ray and them like working their asses off.
No question. I'm looking at another group that's probably not going to be as impactful a group, but Indy's defense. That team's probably not going anywhere fast, but that's a big difference schematically, going from Gus to Lou, Bradley to Anarumo. You talk about like just when I think about studying all the things that you have to know when you play in a Lou Anarumo defense. At least from watching it, it seems like it's a layered defense with a lot of different things that even defensive linemen have to be aware of: pressures, movement. Where Gus is a little bit more hit it and get it, and you're going to play zone coverage, and they're going to man up more. So when you think about like being a player in the NFL, like having to adjust what you do every year, and the runway being shorter than ever now, there's just a lot that goes into August. And for some of these more impactful situations, like the Eagles, who have like Jalen Hurts. We've been talking about a lot of Jalen Hurts stuff this week, and I kind of hate the way we always get to it. Like it's always, but Jalen Hurts is on like coordinator number what?
It's been a different one every year since I think his first year of college.
5 I think it's 5, dude. Like and ironically, we're doing the whole thing. So that to me is just as a side note, like. Whatever you think of Jalen Hurts, man, like I think he's earned being one of the guys. Yeah. But you're not going to be able to convince me or a lot of people that he's better than Mahomes or Burrow or Al. It's just the way it is, dude. Like I'm sorry, it's like for some people they respect the fuck out of Jalen and think he's one of the guys, but he's probably not one of those guys. But what I will say is I've just been so impressed with the way he's handled himself in big games, but also every year hitting the curveball with a new guy he's got to work with and a new guy calling plays. Like, that's not easy. There's a lot that we count in his column as far as how good his team is, and that shit is dead true. But the thing that people don't pay enough attention to also is every year he's had to change situations.
One of my classmates from business school used to, he was probably one of the smartest kids in our section, but he wouldn't grades wasn't all that great. But he used to talk about how he wished that he would get graded on the distance that he traveled in a short period of time rather than on all the work, because he would not come to class, not pay attention, not do anything. Then the night before the final, he would cram it all in and knock it out. It's like, if you measure for that, I am actually the best student in this class. And that reminds me a little bit, not completely, but a little bit of Jalen Hurts, not because he's lazy, but because if you think of the distance that man has traveled, it feels almost asinine. And I get the off season, we have to do these comparisons. We're trying to make these conversations interesting. I mean, by all means, I get it. We got to figure this out. But when you look at that, it seems so crazy to think about the guy who got his job taken in college and was a second round pick has gone all this distance to being a Super Bowl MVP, and for some reason we are continually, or not for some reason, we do this to all of them, where we continue to move the goalposts. It's like, is he
a quarterback?
Is he going to be a starter? Yeah.
It's true. And also you mentioned the distance he's traveled. The distance he travels within a season, like the improvement that you see. I think it's reductive to call him Eli Manning, but I would mean it as a compliment, right? Because Eli Manning was when it came time to make a big throw, he was making the big throw. Now the defense helped out a lot there too. You can argue that the Eagles roster's great and everything, but Hurts was out there slinging the ball around the yard in the Super Bowl both times that he's played Patrick Mahomes. And we always say, hey, to beat the best or be the best, you got to beat the best. And it ain't just him out there. But I do want to make that point, that we do count a lot in his column, and we should, as far as how his life has improved for where he is. But he's also been kind of like a guy who every year has got to figure it out. And so I want to give him his props there. Also, ironically, the guy Jalen's getting de facto compared to, which is the dumbest conversation ever. Like, why are we comparing? I know why, but like, do we have to do this with Cam and Jalen? Cam was the opposite, where in 2015 he took that team to the Super Bowl, 15-1. We're going to talk about win totals in a second. 8.5 was their win total. Look at that roster. People have made this point. I also think the point's been made incompletely because the defense was really good. They had a lot of veterans on the defense, and they weren't all guys that were in their primes, but like having that group, they got guys to play big. Just an interesting sidebar. I love going back and talking about that year because it is one of the most incredible feats I've ever seen a quarterback accomplish, regardless of how he played when he got in the Super Bowl. So in that way, kind of inverse, where Jalen hasn't always been spectacular in the regular season, but when he gets in the big game, he does it. And so, just as an aside, he's got a new coordinator this year, and he's got to do it again.
And the last time he had a new coordinator, things got ugly for a second, and they had to get rid of him. Like, they had that great season, and then Steichen got a job in Indy, and then he got a new coordinator, and it seemed like they had no idea what to do when he got blitzed, and everyone seemed confused. I don't know whose fault it was, but it didn't work out. And then he bounced back, which is, again, like, that's a testament to him. There's nobody else who's doing it the way that he's doing it as far as bouncing back from those major setbacks.
Resilient. And this is the time where I have to ask you for the Philly contingency. How have you rehabilitated your image since you told him he was too pretty?
I mean, I can't. He is too pretty. I can't. I mean, what am I supposed to do with it? Like, the man is so goddamn handsome, it makes me uncomfortable. And I don't know, man. How could you be so good at football and like a legitimate model level attractive? It's funny how those things catch on, man. It's just, you never know, because like we do get up and like sometimes we're serious and sometimes we're joking, and obviously that's a joking segment. And then it's just so fun to talk about. It gets clipped, and then everyone's like, "Oh, whoa!"
Everybody's like, "I'm going to burn your fucking house down, Domonique." Like, you got real serious.
It wasn't an insult. I was like,
but here's where I push back. I think dudes hate on the dudes that are. So it's like it's almost like there's an ugly privilege, in my opinion. Have you ever considered that?
That's fair. I like it.
And I don't want to say any examples of who I think gets ugly privilege.
You can't bring it up without naming names.
I hadn't thought about it on purpose.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm married to a black woman, lots of black women in my life, and my algorithm combines the fact that I'm married to a black woman and I play football. All my timeline is filled up with is fat asses and Jalen Hurts is handsome. Like, that's it. That's what I got in the timeline, guys. That's what I got in the timeline. And I thought it was a funny joke to make. Y'all didn't like it. It's fine. I still think it's funny. And my wife still tells me how attractive Jalen Hurts is on a regular basis. I can't. It doesn't make me insecure or anything like that.
It's humbling to be in sports media, bro. That's why, hey, listen. I'm always, you know what I mean? I don't want Cam Newton starting to read my accolades or fucking, like, hey, I just wanted to point out, I want to take a second to point out that Cam Newton carried a team to 15-1 that probably shouldn't have made the playoffs. I just,
Put me down for pro Cam Newton also.
Yeah. I'm pro everybody, dude.
I don't want to be in Cam's crosshairs. Yeah, I don't want to piss off RC. I don't want nobody mad at me. Hey, guys, y'all are great.
I don't want to piss off RC. I've got to work with RC. Really enjoy RC. He's my buddy.
Me too.
So, can we all just get along? And
Marcus Spears, phenomenal athlete, two-sport athlete. He's great. All you guys, I love you so much.
Also,
all
Marcus
of them except
Spears,
for Dan. Dan,
who I found out today is 41, dude. Okay, and when I said to Nolan, I said if I'd have guessed his age, it wouldn't have been 1 year older than me. I didn't mean it like he looks young.
No, Dan got some old man energy though.
He's got old man energy.
He carries himself. Yeah, he carries himself like he's been through some shit. But that's the life of being a quarterback on the Lions back in the day. I think it put some years on him, man.
Dude, I just thought, it's nothing against Dan. I have like age dysmorphia, where you think you're younger than you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought Dan was a couple years older than me. But like we're damn near peers. So.
He's a baby. You should have something in common. I think he played at UConn. You played at UVA. It's same level of talent there.
That's good. Now we're throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Compare basketball schools out there.
Hey, Ralph Friedgen's not walking through that door, brother. Let's go over unders. Show us the over unders here, Noel. Yeah.
Yeah, we got them here. We got them grouped just by the number, so we can kind of just roll through it by the number. Who stands out too high, too
Go
low?
number by number, and we'll stop you when we see something surprising.
11.5. Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Eagles.
None of that surprises me. You?
It's not like I don't think it. Yeah, no.
Nothing there. All right, 10.5. Lions and Niners.
The Niners is so like we just talked about it on DFS. All right,
Yeah.
like which is a great show. Go watch that show as well. But like the Niners are just it's so dependent on things that we have no idea. Like McCaffrey's health, a bunch of guys we haven't seen play in the pros before on defense. You know, you've got injuries outside where guys are coming back from things. Like I think the Lions that's a little bit rich. Like 10 games, I know it's a 17-game schedule, but 10 games is not like it's not that easy to win 10 games. I know the schedule sucks. Supposedly the schedule's easy. Everybody sucks on the schedule, but that's always based on last year's win percentage. I don't think that's necessarily a metric. So,
I mean, both of them are in tough divisions too. I think it might not be as easy as it sounds, even for the 49ers, who I think have the easiest schedule.
yep.
So your 9.5 group, we got a bunch. Bengals, Broncos, Packers, Texans, Chargers, Rams, Bucks, and Commanders.
So, I mean,
It's a tough number.
I think the Rams and the Commanders jump out as teams that are interesting for us to talk about. I'm not sure that the number is wrong though, but this is one of those numbers that is like 9.5. Like, that's seems about right for most of these teams. But the Commanders have this quarterback that played at MVP level last year, and they've obviously made some moves with getting Laramie Tunsil and Debo Samuel and going kind of all in. So I think the expectation, I live in DC, the expectations are higher than 9.5, given how well they showed in the playoffs last year and towards the end of the season. And we're getting all the great offseason stories about Jaden Daniels getting more muscle and all that stuff. So it's exciting. I think that if you ask any Commanders fan, which Charlie, my producer, is, 9.5 seems low.
Well, if you ask any Commanders fan, they'll always tell you it's their year, even though a lot of times for a long time there wasn't evidence of that, and there's evidence now. I mean, like this, and Tunsil's there. You know, I believe in Dan, man. I do, and obviously more than anything, I believe in this quarterback. I'm also, I think the Bucks are just. I think the Bucks have like bad branding because they should always be talked about as one of the toughest teams in the league. What they've kind of turned into, sticking the landing on post Brady. You know, Baker surprised a lot of people down there. Obviously, they got changed coordinator this year with Cohen going down to Jacksonville. But when you watched their offense last year, Fox, I felt like they were one of the most efficient and explosive offenses. Like at the same damn time, dude. And the run game was at times like overpowering. Bucky Irving's a beast. I love the Bucks, man. I love the Bucks. I might just play that just for the ride.
I like the Bucks too. I think. Well, we're going to talk about Liam. I think Liam Cohen at some point later in this because I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence at some point. But yeah, the Bucks are right. They're a solid team that feels like they have a higher ceiling than I think we're willing to extend to them because of some residual Baker question marks, I think.
Charlie says that the Bucks have ugly privilege.
They do.
I'm not sure.
I think I know what Charlie's saying. Charlie is saying that like the team, there are certain teams that. Go ahead, Charlie. You can explain it for yourself. We've had this conversation before.
Privacy. The whole NFC South gets privacy. If the Bucks won 7 games this year, we would ignore it. Even when they're good, we're also going to ignore it. We're going to talk about the Eagles.
That's true. They get a ugly privilege, and then sometimes they get slighted because they're actually good. The next number is 8.5, where I think some people might be surprised that. I don't know if you're surprised that the Cardinals are sitting there at that number. I do know that some guys in my group text were surprised about the Patriots, and I said, "How would y'all play this total?" And they were all like, "Under." And I go, well, that tells me where it's going to go. Going over.
Steelers too. Like I think depends on who you talk to, but I think by and large most people think that Aaron Rodgers is the upgrade over Russell Wilson. So I think most people would assume that 8.5 is low for
So it makes you
the
wonder.
Steelers.
Makes
But
you wonder.
I'm not sure that Aaron Rodgers is that big of an upgrade at this point. I could be convinced either way, depending on the day of the week, honestly.
I think he's an upgrade, but only if he's the best version of his older self. I don't want to say best version of himself because that would make you think like MVP Rodgers, but just come in with a mindset that's different from what it's been the last couple of years, man. Like wipe the slate clean. You know, it's easy. We get up here and beat Rodgers up and all this stuff, and a lot of times I feel like he deserves it. But you know, all you got to do is show up and be a dude, and people are gonna follow you because you're a Hall of Famer, bro. Like, and if he can just show up and buy in, and this is the thing I like about the Steelers situation is they've had a thing for a while. He's not bigger than Pittsburgh. You know, when you go to New York and play for the Jets, it's like, holy shit, Aaron Rodgers is here. You know, you got some of that in Pittsburgh, but Tomlin's not gonna lay down for anybody. Like, I really do think there's a universe where they win enough games to get in and might win a playoff game, but I don't think they're like contenders. No.
It's funny, Brooke Pryor, at ESPN, the reporter for the Steelers, is talking about how the fans there are mixed on Aaron Rodgers. It's a lot more of considering a team that's kind of been in the quarterback wilderness for a while. Even towards the end of Big Ben's career, he wasn't really healthy or playing well. You would think that they'd be excited, but she was saying that there was, I think she made the point that someone told her that they had season tickets, they're not going to any games until Aaron Rodgers is benched because they don't believe in him. And it wasn't about anything broader than just they don't think he's good. And then there obviously are plenty of Steelers fans who are excited about him. So I think the situation is going to be interesting. He plays well early, of course. Everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon.
It's going to be good TV, man. And then we've got Seattle at 8.5 as well. And I think that's a tricky one. I was impressed with the way their defense played down the stretch, man. Like, I think they got the bones of a very good team there. A lot of it's going to come down to the quarterback.
I love Seattle on defense. It took a second, which it normally does, to get everything in sync with the new head coach and new defensive frame. But like that defense was one of the best in football, and I think assuming that Darnold is going to be closer to what he was last year than what he's been for the rest of his career, I think this team, could definitely do more than that. But then, it's like, was that just a fluke for Darnold in the right situation with Jefferson and Addison and O'Connell? And if they take a step back, of course, the win total is really affected by how good your quarterback plays.
No question. We got another one where seeing Penix at the end of the year, it probably affects the way most people look at this total because I'm bullish on Penix and everything. 7.5 is the total for the Falcons, for the Dolphins, for the Colts, and the Jags. Some interesting teams in here. To put the Colts on the same level as the Falcons right now, what is Vegas doing? Because the Falcons, to me, seem like a team that has some excitement, right? Like because they're turning the page. And the Colts, to me, seem like a total question mark because they don't even have a quarterback.
I don't know. I mean, I guess this must be a strength of schedule thing because I normally, when the line is a little off, I assume that it's off in favor of like a popular public team like the Cowboys or somebody like that. But like, I don't think the Falcons are a team that gets love just because they're the Falcons, or excuse me, it would be the other way around in this case. It would be the Colts getting more love just because they're the Colts. That doesn't seem like
they're not a public team.
Yeah.
So it's not like they don't raise any alarms there. I think Jacksonville's very interesting, man. I think they were such a bad football team last year, and a lot of it was just the way they unraveled mentally and, you know, the way they put game plans together, the way they hustled to the football. Like I'm not saying they were a good team that played bad, but they weren't as bad as they played, if that makes sense. And so there's a reclamation project in there. I don't know how far they can get year one with Cohen, but to me, their ceiling is higher than the Colts. You know what I'm saying?
No, I would certainly agree. And they have the excitement of adding Travis Hunter. Of course, we're not exactly sure what he's going to do, but I think it's hard to imagine that he doesn't at least make the team somewhat better. I'm not sure if he's going to make the offense or the defense or both better. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, you would assume Trevor Lawrence was a better player coming out than Baker Mayfield. Of course, there could be different factors, and we could have been wrong from the beginning. But you could assume that Liam Cohen is going to be able to work the magic that he worked in Tampa with Baker with Trevor Lawrence, because they have a young talented receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. and also like assuming Hunter is going to go on the other side, another receiver over there to balance this thing out. So I think the offense will be pretty good. Hopefully, like I think what the thing about Trevor Lawrence is we get like flashes of it. It's just not consistent. And then there's
He'll spray the
excuses
ball.
on drops and stuff. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that team. But that's another kind of page turning situation where you should be optimistic as a fan base, with the exception of the way that he said Duval.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was rough. It's rough.
Travis Hunter question for Domonique. As a former DB, I keep hearing people say, oh, well, Travis will be full-time offense, and then you can just put him out there on third down. Like, is it that easy?
I'm with you.
I think it's the other way around. Like, I think it would be easier because, like, defense is so reactionary, and, like, you have to be comfortable with reacting to the things that you're seeing. If it's man coverage, even if it's just man coverage, that would be the easiest thing to ask him to do. But even if it's man coverage, like there's a ton of prep that goes into understanding what they like to do in certain situations, understanding what players want, run what routes, and the alignment that tells you the things that they're going to do. Like that stuff on defense, I think requires a lot more attention to detail. And then it's also like blitzes with motion that shifts everything over there. And then it's the zones where if number 2 goes flat, you do this. If they shift the formation, like there's just so many more like changes to defense. I think playing defense is tougher mentally for a DB. A receiver, like, and that's the way that it's always been done too. And I think it's because of that reason. Like we rarely see receivers who moonlight at DB. We see great corners who were like, all right, go run this route. Because if we drop the offense, like you're running this route.
Yeah, you're running this route, and it might change. It might change based on leverage, the guy in front of you, or something that's easy to see. But I feel like on defense, y'all are passing shit off. You're rocking and rolling. You're doing all that shit that I used to hear behind me. I'd be like, what the fuck are they doing? Right up to the snap, after the snap, and so I'm with you, man. Like I think people made it sound too easy to play like both sides of the ball, bro. I love this kid. I think he's going to be special. He just got that vibe about him that, I don't say this about rookies a lot, but for whatever reason, I'm just really rooting for him. But to play both sides of the ball, they made it sound too easy. Here's one for you. 2 teams, because the other ones are kind of New Orleans, Tennessee, New York, Cleveland. They're all down here in the basement, and I get why. For me personally, the other 3, actually, Carolina, Vegas, and New York, the Giants, in varying ways, I feel like could be better than we're giving them credit. I think Carolina, if you pay attention to Bryce Young, he was playing better ball. And a guy like him picking up more confidence at the end of a season, that can be huge. I don't mean to boil it all down to the quarterback. Vegas, man, Chip Kelly and Geno could be a pretty good marriage. It really could.
And Ashton Genty in the backfield, and you got the tight end and was probably the best in football.
Unbelievable.
That situation. I think. Yeah, 4. What they got him at? They got him at 5. No, they got him at 6 wins. Yeah, they got it. They could do better than that. And I think you mentioned the Titans. I think it's a Cam Ward question. We don't want to boil it down.
No, not the Titans. It's for me. It's the Giants. I'm kind of wondering are the Giants, Panthers, Raiders, and I also feel like I don't know. I'm not there yet. I haven't made my final determination where you can hold me to a prediction. If I get something right in this show, I can't take credit for it either. But like the Giants, are they kind of fooling me a little bit, making me think they're going to be a tough out some weeks? Like that defense.
I mean, this is the D lineman in you. This is what this is. This is the D lineman in you talking. They have the most exciting and interesting looking D line in football that we haven't seen all come to fruition yet. So I like, and that's their history. Like their best teams were driven by crazy D line. So I get why you're excited by them.
All right. Well, last question or 2. These are quick. We saw this Raiola kid who obviously is a hell of a player at Nebraska, and he kind of does everything like Mahomes, seemingly intentionally. And I don't want to make that sound weird because, like, I get it's a mindset for some people to, like, totally emulate somebody. Was there anybody, and he went as far as saying, and I thought he was good about qualifying it. He said, I am not comparing myself to Kobe. Even having to say it feels weird. But, like, he said it was like Kobe and Jordan for him, like the way Kobe used to, like, try to emulate Jordan, and not in a weird way, just like sometimes it was cool to see it because you were like, damn, dude, he really was. He looked like Mike right there, like in his mannerisms, like the way he attacked the game, the whole thing. Was there anybody that young Domonique Foxworth tried to emulate?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I went to Maryland, and when I was there, Champ Bailey was in Washington. So, like, I saw that, and then I got drafted, and Champ had just been traded. And so, yeah, I wanted to be like Champ Bailey. I tried to do the things that he did on the field for all of 2 days. It was a short-lived experiment because I can't do that shit, like, physically. He was like 190, 200 pounds, like 6 foot, 6'1", and was the quickest, fastest, could turn, could do all types of things. So, like, when I'm out there doing the drills and then I watch him do a one-on-one and cover somebody by doing something that I had never seen before, I was like, oh, that's all you got to do. Cool. And that's the real hallmark of, like, ridiculous athletes. It's not that they do something ridiculous. It's that they do something ridiculous and make it look easy. Make you think you can do it. Yeah, and I would go out there and do it and fucking rip my hip flexor. And I'm like, nah, this ain't for me.
Well, it's like you do something, your best play where you're like, damn, dude, that was a sick play. I remember that one. Like, they got a bunch of them like that, like where it's like they just do that shit, like with on the reg, and like sometimes not even like some D linemen, they just do it like where I've talked to some D linemen before that blew me away, where they're like getting inside their head and thinking about how they rush. I've heard guys say things like, yeah, I'd just be in cruise control for 3 quarters and then I wait till the 4th and just hit him with my best rush. And I'm like, dude, was I fucking up? Because I was giving him my best rush every time. You know, like, and that's the difference between good players and Hall of Famers, dude. And so, you know, and I'm glad you didn't try to emulate Champ with the house parties, though, because that would have been expensive.
I couldn't afford it. I just walked around close to him, just catch a little shrapnel.
So I had a very, I guess, it was lofty because I was a huge fan of his, but it was like more attainable for me. And my dad was always good about being realistic with me, like, to the point where when I got recruited in high school, he was like, you should really work on your guard sets. Like, I don't know if you're quick enough, you know, like, you know, and it kept me humble. But I will say he did give me one present one time, and it was a Kyle Vandenbosch DVD. And this back in the DVD player days where he was like, take this and watch Kyle Vandenbosch. And I tried to emulate in a lot of ways the way Kyle Vandenbosch played. And honestly, that for me was pretty good. Because I could do it physically. It wasn't like Dad was like, here's Julius Peppers. You know?
Man, I ran into Julius Peppers in Aspen a couple months ago, and I think he got a couple snaps left in him. I think he could be the best pass rusher in the NFL for 1 week still.
Dude, he's also the most chill, awesome dude. Like, thank God he's so cool for everybody else. Because he could be a huge asshole, dude, justifiably, but he is just the coolest dude.
I went to Maryland early and was getting ready, and everything was fine for when I was a freshman, and then our first game came around, and so people asked, like, were there ever any time you had doubt that you're going to make the NFL? And like, no, I played well as a freshman, so like I never really had any doubt except for week 1 when Julius Peppers, we played home, and the Tar Heels came to town. And Julius Peppers just walked in the stadium, and I was like, no, like, no, that's not. He was bigger than everyone on the field, and like faster and stronger and quicker. Like there was just, and he just looked. Yeah, we talk about Cam Newton. It's like how Cam Newton looks in person. Like, no, that's not how. People aren't made like that. That's like an action figure. That's how Julius Peppers.
No. And some people are like, man, like, You think if I did the same exercise as Miles
Nope.
Garrett did that I would look like Miles Garrett? No, just some motherfuckers are different, dude. And you had me thinking about Maryland and playing UNC and the old. I actually like the old UNC uniforms and shit from those days. But like, were you aware when it happened of the Greg Jones decapitation of Dexter Reed? Dexter Reed.
Yeah, Dexter Reed. Yes, I do remember when he stiff armed him into the back of someone else's head and his helmet popped off. Yes.
He stiff armed him to China. You know how people think if you go down far enough, there's China, like
through the core of the earth.
Yeah, he woke up and heard. That
was bad. It was bad. Yeah, I don't know if we played him after or before that, but I remember seeing that, and we definitely had to play him. Oh.
Look at this. Oh, this is a good shot of it.
Yep.
Greg Jones was a bad dude, man. He played fullback for Jacksonville when I got I had a lot of respect for Greg Jones, and when he came over on like one of those whams or whatever you want to call them, like you had to buckle your shit. It was awesome, dude. He was a beast.
It was not awesome.
Hey, no,
I never
you know
had
what?
anything like that. I'd chop people. I'd chop them.
Yeah, well, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. No, I can't. I can't do. Yeah, I'm talking to tackles. You can't do it. You can't do O lineman. Yeah, which is
I don't know.
That's a terrible rule.
Can the DBs chop the O lineman anymore?
No, not from outside in. The rule is that you
can't. You
go outside in. I miss it. I guess it's health and safety, but they don't care about our health and safety because so I got to go head up with a tackle. For what?
Well, collapsed lung is better than like an ACL, I guess. So, hey, and we all know like offensive linemen are very important. You know, there's a bunch of DBs in every room, so you got to have the TV. Hey, Dom, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for bullshitting with us. I can't wait till we actually get some football like to analyze, dude.
I can't wait. I'll be back, and hopefully you'll be back on my show too. Appreciate it. Thanks, Nolan.
Go check out Domonique Foxworth Show. It's like the same thing, but even better because his show is better.